Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Progress. Today I'd like to take some time to tell you about my recent adventures with the DJI Ronin-S and the DJI Ronin SC from an amateur's perspective. I'm not a professional filmmaker, I'm not a photographer. I do like to dabble in that as a hobby, but that is as far as it goes. I like to take video with family and friends. I make tech videos to upload to YouTube to share my love of tech with the community. And that is as far as my filmmaking goes. So when the 3-axis gimbal first came out, I thought this is a really cool way to combine technology with filmmaking and help out somebody like me, except for the fact that they were extremely expensive, they were extremely big, bulky, heavy, and they weren't made for somebody like me. They were made for professional filmmakers. That all changed early last year when DJI released the Ronin-S, which you can see right here. So I didn't want to buy it at full price when it first came out. I watched some reviews, everybody seemed to love it, and I thought when it went on sale on Black Friday, it's finally time to pull the trigger and pick one up for myself. So when it came in the mail, I was extremely excited to unbox it and put it together and start making some videos with it. So I put it together, it all went really easy. I balanced my EOS R with my 24-105 RF lens on it. That went extremely easy. Setting it up with the DJI app, I mean, it was super simple to get all that done for my first time with a gimbal. And I was excited to go out and do some shooting until I picked it up. And that is when my mood changed, because I realized that I am never going to use this thing. I'm never going to take this thing to an event. I'm never going to take this thing out with friends and family. It is way too heavy. We've got a 4-pound gimbal plus a 3-pound camera and lens setup sitting on the very top of it, making it top heavy. It just wasn't something I was ever actually going to use. Throughout the month of December, I went to lots of events and different things around Christmas, and every time I went to pick up the DJI Ronin-S to go do some shooting, I decided it wasn't worth the hassle, and I shot everything handheld instead. Which was sad because I just spent all this money on this expensive gimbal that was supposed to make my filmmaking better, and instead it was basically hindering me from wanting to do some filmmaking. So luckily I had waited long enough that the DJI Ronin SC had come out, and I thought, okay, well, you know what, maybe I'll give that a try. The DJI Ronin SC is smaller, it's 40% lighter, and it is something that actually fits in your hand much better. There's also a lot of other cool features that come with the Ronin SC over the Ronin-S. I'm not saying it's a better gimbal. It does have a lot of downsides, but they don't seem to outweigh the fact, at least for me as an amateur, of having the weight and awkwardness of this big thing coming with me all the time. So basically, I just want to kind of highlight some differences here between the two and tell you how it has changed my mind on which gimbal to buy throughout the time that I have been using it. Before we get started, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more great tech videos in the future, because it would really help grow the channel and I would much appreciate it. Thank you. Basically, the DJI Ronin SC is a fully capable, smaller version of the DJI Ronin-S. It has all the same features, it has almost as good a battery life, and it actually does come with a few extra features in there as well. One thing that I did notice right away is that the build quality is not quite as premium as the DJI Ronin-S. It does not feel cheap by any means, but it is more plasticky, and that was one of the ways that they made it lighter. This one does feel more premium. It's got that metal feel to it. It definitely is a more professional feeling gimbal. But as far as functionality goes, they are completely the same. They have the same functions. They can both do the 360 roll, where you can get those barrel roll shots. They have the selfie mode. They can do everything that one another can do, except for the fact that the DJI Ronin SC doesn't support as big of cameras. So unfortunately, my Canon EOS R with the 24-105 lens on it will not work on the Ronin SC in all modes. You can use it upright, you can go sideways and do the underslung mode as opposed to the front down underslung mode. You can get it to balance enough to do the 360 roll if you really strain the motors, but I wouldn't recommend it. But as far as convenience goes, this thing is way, way, way better to take out and shoot some video on the fly. One thing I did notice is that the motors in the SC are definitely not as premium as or as strong as the motors in the DJI Ronin-S. One of the first things I did when I balanced the DJI Ronin-S and decided to try it out was I threw my Rode VideoMic Pro Plus on top of it with the dead cat, hooked it all up, and basically continued on using the gimbal as a balanced gimbal. I had no issues with it. When I tried to do that with the DJI Ronin SC the first time, the motors became very strained. I started getting warnings in the app that the motors were too strained, and it actually even failed a couple of times because it wasn't balanced. You can balance it no problem with the dead cat and the VideoMic Pro Plus on it, but you can't just slap it on after you have balanced it for another setup. So there are a lot of times where the Ronin-S is a lot more forgiving. I was even able to change out lenses sometimes without rebalancing it. I know that's not a good practice, but it was something I was able to do. That's the other thing, is the DJI Ronin SC, being an amateur and not wanting to have a heavy setup, I didn't need that big RF 24-105 zoom lens on my camera. So what I did is I actually took the money that I saved on the DJI Ronin-S and put it towards the RF 35mm macro lens, which has an f1.8 aperture. And this thing actually makes the setup quite a bit lighter. And because the lens is so much smaller, I'm actually able to use all the functions of the DJI Ronin SC in all modes. The other thing is that the Ronin SC does come with a few more accessories than the Ronin-S does. One thing I was disappointed with is with a $200 premium to buy this one over this one, you actually don't even get the cable to connect it to the camera. Whereas with the DJI Ronin SC, it comes in the box. With this one, you're going to have to spend another $30 to pick up another cable. This one also does come with a phone mount, so that you can slap the phone mount onto the side, have your phone on the side. Also, in order to use the active track function, you can actually take this, put it on top of the camera, balance it, and have your phone so that you can do the active track. The Force Mobile feature, however, the fact that I can actually use my phone to control the pan, tilt, and roll of my camera, that is pretty cool. And that is something I actually probably will use for filming B-roll sequences and stuff like that. Another feature of the DJI Ronin SC is the fact that you're actually able to lock and unlock every single axis on the gimbal for purposes of balancing or transportation. So if you actually want to transport this thing, you can fold up every single axis and lock them into place. This thing will actually fold up to the point where you can take this, throw that in your camera bag, even disassemble it quickly, throw it in your camera bag, and be on your way. It's a little different with the DJI Ronin-S because no matter what, you turn this thing off, and it is just going to flop around like crazy. There is no way to lock it. You are going to be stuck with this thing flopping around all the time. You can still disassemble it like I did with this one, but it's not going to be as easy to transport. So the other thing too is this can be broken down where it can fit into almost a standard carrying case for a camera or a small camera backpack. This thing here you're going to have a little bit more trouble transporting. So basically, lastly, the only thing I can talk about is the price. You are going to spend a premium to buy the DJI Ronin-S. So as an amateur, if you're trying to save money, I was much happier putting my money into another lens as opposed to paying extra for a bigger, heavier, bulkier gimbal. Yeah, it's more capable, but it's not something I'm going to use. So, in my conclusion, as an amateur or hobbyist filmmaker, I would much prefer a DJI Ronin SC over the DJI Ronin-S. In fact, my return policy for the DJI Ronin-S is coming to a close at the end of the month, and it will be going back. It is way too cumbersome to use, and I know I will never get any use out of it. This is a more limited system. It's not nearly as capable as the DJI Ronin-S, but this is something that I am going to use all the time. So, in my opinion, it's worth it to sacrifice some of the functionality to get the lighter setup. So, if you enjoyed the video, again, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave some comments in the description below if you have something to say. And get subscribed to the channel for more great tech videos in the future. And as always, thanks for tuning into Tech Progress. Take care.